Hello everyone, my name is Zerados12, and as you may know, it's been a while. It's been almost a year and a half since we've actually done this. But yes, judging by the title, we are doing a dev stream today. Today, we're specifically doing what I like to call, wait for it, the Model 1894 shotgun. Now, before we get into the shotgun, I just ate breakfast, by the way. Before we get into the shotgun, I'm just going to say this one thing. The shotgun is going to have very different feel to it regarding ballistics and a bunch of other things. Stats are going to be very different. The way it handles is going to be very different, especially this one, since it's a double barrel. You're going to see a lot more in this stream than you thought. So get ready and join the ride. Let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to, oh, by the way, every 30 minutes we'll take a break. Just so you know, a 10-minute break. Or a 5-minute break, rather. At every 30 or 35. Anyways, let's go. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the stats in the cartridge script. Now this is how the cartridge script works. You're wondering, whoa, what is this? This is basically where the ballistics are stored. So for example, 12 gauge is what we're looking at today. 12 gauge is specifically just that, 12 gauge. But it has stats that haven't been updated in a while. So this is what I'm going to do. We're also going to have to open up another thing. So let me just close all this out because we don't need this right now. Yeah, that's a lot of code, isn't it? And it all works. Oh, and by the way, another thing. If you hear anything in the background, it's probably my mom just doing some stuff with plastic bags. I mean, there's this thing where they have where you can seal them up whenever you have meats and stuff. So you might hear that, just so you know. Anyways, let's go straight to the script itself. You also have cartridge mass. Now, cartridge mass is going to be based on the mass of the shotgun. Literally. And if you hear that, it's probably neighbors, but it's okay. This is just a stream. So, yeah. The reason why I'm out close to the door is because my signal in the bedroom of mine does not work. It's been stopped working ever since December of last year. It used to work really well, but now it doesn't. So, just so you know. Anyways, we have 12 gauge not on the list. That's because we have to add it. Now let's go and make a new script. I'm going to insert object and then click on module script. And then we're going to call this module script gauges. Now what does this do? You may wonder. Well, this holds all the information about the 12 gauge shotgun. Now another thing I forgot to mention before is that the gauge is super important. So we're going to have to take breaks to find out every gauge that can be added into the gun. And we're also going to have to retrieve some shells as well. that do different things. Each type of gauge or gauge type is going to be there too. There's going to be available gauge types, and then there's going to be gauges themselves. Gauge types allow you to do very special stuff with the gauge that you have, such as being able to use dragon's breath rounds or slug rounds or birdshot, anything you can think of. Now, if you have 20 gauge, that might not be possible. They might be smaller. It will, excuse me. It will also determine another thing, which will be just in general how this works. So let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do return, or actually, return, and then just do that. This is going to be a dictionary, so we have 12 gauge. Can't even spell gauge right, that's a shame. So then we have 12 gauge right here. Now, before we get into this, I'm going to take a quick break, not just to grab the information for 12 gauge, but also to stretch a bit. So I will be right back. So we have a change of plans. Unfortunately, we couldn't find much about this regarding the length and how long it goes and stuff. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to use a scale. Alright, a scale. Now the scale goes positive or negative. And it's basically based on the length of the shotgun shell. Now we're only going to have certain ones in the game. So I'm just going to let you know right now. If it's 10 gauge, it will most likely go 1,000. If it's 12 gauge, it will go 1,200. That's how this will work. In studs, yes. So, velocity should be 600. And range should be 1,200. Now velocity will always be half of the range. That's key to know, because I'm telling you, this is a very difficult thing to do without the proper information. Now the gauge types will come last, but let's just see the color that we have for 12 gauge. 12 gauge's color is baby blue. So let's do that. Color equals brick color dot new baby blue. And if you hear that mumbling, it's my mom. She's talking to my aunt right now. Anyways, there's a few other stats in here we forgot. So the vector, we don't need that. We just need gravity. Gravity is going to be on a scale as well. So 12 gauge, if we look at the mass, hold on, let me find it, is going to be, let's see, 1/12 of a pound. If you have 20 gauge, it's lighter. So the gravity is going to be about, let's just say, I don't know, 1/6. So, yeah. Acceleration will equal 1 point, actually, workspace, not gravity, times 1/6. Yeah, we divide by 2 to get the mass that we want, and basically that works. Now if it goes over 1, then you've got another problem on your hands. So yeah, anyways, let's just see about this. Acceleration is good, range is good, color, velocity. Alright, that's better. So now we go straight back to 12 gauge. Right here we have this, which, if I'm not mistaken, let me go to the script so I can show you what I mean. There's also a repository that we have full of good scripts that I've worked on. This is one of them. So now we go here, and acceleration, you have length. So now if I look at the length, it's like 1853. So I'm gonna make that length equals 1/6. Simple. You just make the length different, and it works. So now we got that. Next we need to look what's next. Oh yeah, damage. Damage is going to be a little bit tricky to work on because of the fact that the damage model is supposed to be very different from what it used to be. Now with that being said, I would put the damage in a certain position. And by the way, we have like 15 minutes before the break, so just keep that in mind. Anyways, we have, let's just say, I don't know, we have a shell that's 12 gauge. That's 1/12 of a pound. You're also going to have 12 shells. So with that being said, things are going to look a little different. Just keep that in mind. In fact, let's put that now. Shot amount would be 12. And yeah, I heard that. Yeah, that's my phone being disconnected. Anyways, we got shot amount. We have length. We have acceleration. We have color. We have range and velocity. Now all we need is the damage. Now the damage will start with 20 gauge. It's like 5 for every 20 shots. So it's 100 divided by the number of shells. And 100 divided by 12 would be this. So let's see. Damage equals number range dot new 100 divided by 12, 100 divided by 6. So it's always going to take the shape of 100 divided by the number of shells, and then the max would be 100 divided by the shells divided by 2. So if you have 12 shells, that will amount to 6 when you do this. Simple. Alright. So now, we're still not on break yet, because that's going to be about, let's just say 10 minutes almost. It's 13 right now. But yeah. Let's keep moving. So we have that, and the next thing that's on the list would be not size, but penetration. And usually shotgun shells don't penetrate stuff unless they're a certain way, like a slug. I'm talking about regular birdshot. Yes, birdshot. Now birdshot's stats are going to be very different. So by default, it's not going to penetrate. So put that at like 0.1. Alright. And then the next thing we're going to have to deal with on the list is density. Now what do I mean by density? Well, it basically determines the mass of the shotgun shell. So let's keep that in mind. So the density of this shell would be around, let's just say 0.3. How about 0.25? That's a better density than for a shotgun shell than 0.3. A 0.3 could be something even more dense than a shotgun shell. This is just a guesstimate though. Don't take it seriously. Now this is not a magazine, of course. And never will be. It's key to know. And anti-material is false, of course. Incendiary could change. It depends on the gauge type. The gauge type overrides these properties. Just so you know. Now let's get into this. Now the next thing we're going to do after that, well actually I am done with this part for right now. That's the only shotgun shell that we're going to work with today. So meanwhile, let's see what time it is. 12:25. I think I'm going to take a break right now, so I'll be right back. Alright guys, we're back. And as you can see here, I've got the shotgun out. So now let's look at the shell. If you can see right here where I've just selected, that is a 12 gauge 2 3/4 shell. Now, I don't know what 2 3/4 really means. If anyone can help me elaborate on that, that would be nice. But here's the deal. This shell is what we're going to use today. But actually, if you look here, the 3/4 shell is actually a buckshot shell. And let's count how many of these we have. If we look here, we have 12, which makes sense since it is a 12 gauge shell. And the shell body is right here. Now our goal today is to make this starter item work really good when you actually fire it, meaning the shell comes out when you eject it and all that other stuff, and that's what's going to make it work. So to do that, let's set up 2 3/4 buckshot. So we will go to here again, make a new object, call it module script specifically, and call this gauge types. Now what do gauge types do? Well, you're about to find out. Local gauge types. They store the information which is needed for the actual thing to work. You can't just have a gauge and think that it will work. Because honestly, 12 gauge shotgun shells are going to be very different from each other regarding gauges. If you use a certain gauge shell, then you're going to get a difference. And also in game, things are going to be a little different regarding ammo. You're not just going to have a cartridge type. You're also going to have other things to deal with, such as gauge type. Like there's going to be a whole table used, and later on in the stream, for the gauge type. So let's get that straight. Anyways, we have this. Now for the 2 3/4 buckshot, let's get its stats. Alright. Oh wow, it's been discontinued. I'm just looking for the buckshot, that's all. Well, let's see, feet per second. Well, we got the feet per second, so that's good. It's 1325. So with this being said, velocity should be, if we convert 1325, hold on, let me get my calculator. So 1325 times 3, divide that by 10, you get 397.5 studs per second. Not the fastest, but you get the idea. It's supposed to be a shotgun shell. Now, the next thing is going to be the range. So if we look into the Shooting Illustrated article, which you can't see right now because I am busy, well, the maximum effective range would be, the 9 pellet. This is 9 pellets. I didn't think so, but yeah. Muzzle velocity is around 1200, as we already know. But if we go to 1547, that would be the effective range. And that's inches or feet? No, it's feet. It's feet. Where is it? Yeah, I'll find it. It's not in this article. I guess we'll go with 30 feet. Because this is the only one that we can actually deal with. So let's see. Maximum effective range. 30 times 3 is 90. Divide that by 10. Well, that wouldn't work. Let's try something else. So if you have a range of like 1200, that would work. Yeah. Let's just do 1200. It's not much information about the buckshot. Like, I like to find out like what the maximum velocity or range is for like a single weapon if it fires that cartridge or whatnot. But this is like a shotgun shell, so it's very different. Anyways, let's keep moving and actually do this. So first thing I'm going to do is I am going to put in the rest. So the buckshot, yeah, we know it goes a certain amount. Shot amount for this would be 9. Only a certain amount would be done. Now this number, and you have a gauge type, cannot go over the certain amount that you have in the gauge. or the ammunition. The reason why is because the ammunition uses the gauge. No, I'm serious. It literally will use the gauge later. And when it does that, you want to have this ready. So in a certain way so that it will not only register, but it will not cause any errors when you try to put all those pellets into one shell. Because here's the deal. This works like other magazines in this game. If you notice, sometimes you'll see springs pop up and then you'll see like the magazine ammo disappear. That's because it's being shot every time. It's literally being shot into the gun, and well, not literally, but you can tell that the gun is like firing and like dispensing ammo every time it gets. So, yeah. Anyways. Oh wow. I've never yawned on stream before. Anyways, let's move on. So we have the shot amount. Now the buckshot does something else too, which is damage, right? Well, actually we have everything here. So let's just move on. So now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to register this in. We'll probably take a break around 12:45 just to get the rest of the ammunition, because there's others that will go into this as well, or whenever I get it. So go down here, call this gauge types, this new field, and we're going to put in the first one, which is this 234 buckshot, and basically that does it. So now I think we should take a break because I'm starting to get a little bit out of breath just talking about this while kneeling, because you gotta remember the signal in my room is really terrible. So yeah, anyways, I'll be right back. back again. This time we're actually going into the stats. So, here's what we gotta do. First of all, what we have to do is simple. We have to set up the thing, as in the cartridge object, so where it can actually read the gauge stats. Now when we do that, this is what we do. So we find the calibration first. Oh, excuse me guys. My mom is yelling because I accidentally gave her the wrong bag. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm gonna be right back right now. So, yeah. So what we have to find is the calibration. So in that case, we have to go straight here, and we have to do this. So we'll do function, cartridge, set, this is cartridge, set up gauge. And what this does is simple. It allows you to set up all the gauge data, and only if it has a gauge on it. So what that means is this. We put in a field called, let me get this right, cartridge dot gauge equals false, and that basically will tell you this is a gauge weapon or gauge cartridge, which means that if you have a 12 gauge, it's most likely that. Now, here's what we got to do. Self.gauge equals, now hold on, let me require the library. So we go here, we do local gauge equals util service load, yes, you guessed it, configuration. Now I know this is row strap looking. It is row strap, but a modified version of it for RWE3, or in this case that means Rod Blogging Warfare Engine 3. The fourth version will be coming out as soon as the game is in its pre-release stage. It will be much more powerful and will allow for this game to actually run in single player, as in campaign. For the other game that I announced on our me and a friend's Discord, we said that this game will be releasing a UE4 version, meaning it's a standalone game, and it's probably gonna be like not too far after the release of the original game. It's just an adaptation of it in RTS form. The story is already there, the planning is already there. All we need to do is just do it. However, I'll only be working on that on weekends because of the problem with this computer regarding the slowness when it comes to Unreal Engine 4. So, yes, that's the thing. Anyways, let's do gauges. Once it loads the gauges, this is what happens next. So we have gauges, and what we're going to do with it is simple. Self.gauge equals gauge and then we'll do self.name if self.gauge then now here's the deal. What we have to do is we have to give it a title, because remember, at the end of the day, you still have gauges to deal with. So we'll have gauge index, self.gauge index, then self.title equals, well actually, let's do another if statement. Or actually, let's do this. And self.gauges gauge types actually just gauge index, and then we'll just get rid of this right here, because remember, it's not a member of this entire object. It's not a property, it's just a parameter of this function, or method should I say. It's not a function because a function is standalone. This actually requires an object to run. So self.title equals, just say self.name, and then we'll have this right here, and then we'll have this self dot, yeah, right there. And basically what that does is it will change the title accordingly so that the UI will show the proper designation for the shell. Because you can have 12 gauge and it can be very different. Like there's 00 buckshot, there's slugs, the Brennica slug, and then you've got the dragon's breath, and then a whole slew of stuff regarding 12 gauge shells and their types. Anyways, this is what we currently have. In 3 minutes I will take another break to actually go do some things. So yeah. Anyway, sorry about that. I was just answering something on Discord. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. This is the gauge. As you can see, and the title is right here. It changes. So we're going to come back around 1 o'clock. And we're actually going to do this. We're going to continue working on this. Now I might do another dev stream with this shotgun being the main title, since we're just doing the setup today. And I'm taking a lot of breaks to actually recalibrate, since I had to go up the street in order to do this. But I had to come back because of the fact that this city is currently not in phase 3. Yeah. It would be better to do it in the library if it was phase 3, because phase 2 is very risky. It's just phase 2. Anyways, let's continue for a minute before the break. And the next thing we'll do is for K, V, and now, here's the deal. Disclaimer. You never use pairs if this is a numerically indexed table. Meaning, if the keys are numbers, don't use pairs, use iPairs instead. However, if they're strings, you can use pairs, because they're like actual keys from a dictionary. Don't use them in an array, only use it in a dictionary. Let's see, self.gauge do if v does not equal self k, then, and before that, if self k does not equal nil, then, and basically what this does is it allows for me to check if the key is there. If it is, and if it's not equal to the actual value of v, then we're fine. So then we'll do self k equals v. That's simple. That allows you to actually change the properties based on the gauge type, or actually just the gauge for right now. In fact, I'm going to take this out. It's 12:56. I'm going to take a break very soon. Yeah, autosave happens a lot. And then up here, we'll just do this. So now we have it. There you have it. You have it actually doing the gauge stuff, and it works. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a break. Of course, we have to do that. So let me just Back I am again, and the break is over. Almost forgot. Okay, so what we got here is pretty simple, right? Or complex, if you ask me. Anyways, let's move on. So the next thing we have to do is we have to apply this. So here's how I would do it, if I can see that. Setup gauge will be done here. Hold on, let me get it. Now, to do that, we have to find the modifier and to do that, we do this. Literally. Excuse me. So now we just get the face cartridge. We set up the cartridge. And this is what we do. We'll do current cartridge set up gauge. Now with that being said, you're gonna need some data in there. Like, no joke. So I'm going to set it up with this. Main data get. Hold on, it should be coming in a few minutes. Or seconds rather. Okay. And we're going to call this gauge index or 1. Now what does that do? Well, main data get gauge index uses replica, of course, which is a library in Rostrap that can be very useful. But this is a modified version of replica. Like, it allows you to increment and decrement number based types, as well as do a bunch of other things like toggle boolean types and all that stuff. This is gauge index. What does this do? Well, gauge index. Oh wow, I'm yawning again. But gauge index, it basically tracks what type of shell you're using. Are you using the Brennica slug? Are you using the 00 buckshot? Are you using the 2 3/4 buckshot? It depends on what shell you're using in game. The key here is to be able to not only get that shell that you chose, but also use a fallback, which is 1. Or in this case, the 2 3/4 buckshot. So, with that being said, we got that. Now, here's the deal. The shotgun type is going to have to be used here. So we're going to go to fire weapon and set this up. Hold on, let me adjust my stuff. There we go. Fire weapon. Found it. So now what we have to do here is go all the way down. All the way down, yes. And then we'll do this. We go here. Let's fire cannon. I forgot about that. So local. Hold on. We're going to just use a cartridge instead that we set of doing the other thing, but the other thing will be there as a fallback. Equals cartridges. Hold it. And then we'll just set up this a little bit. So I want to just dump out what I have in the clipboard, which is this. Go all the way here. Undo cart, set up gauge, main data, get gauge index, or 1. Now in this case, it will be data. With that being said, let's go up. So if I go up, you'll see that there's a bunch of stuff here. Main data get, mag type. So you get that first, of course, because you're going to need that in order to be able to set up this whole thing. And you'll do this. Now, before we get into that, this is what I think we should do. So in order to make this happen, we probably have to put this in a separate area, these variables. Local mag cart. That way it can set itself up. So now we just do this, and we'll just set these up gladly. So now what we have to do is this. I'm going to move these back, then we're going to take this and we're going to put that there. So now you have a much clearer vision of what I am intending to do, which is to make sure that these get set up first, and it will check and see if they're both true. So now I am going to set up this and do mag cartridge name. So now we have that. Now, hold on, I'll be right back. Alright, we're back. So, let's handle this like a man, I guess. So, we're going to do data right here. And then we'll just do mag type, of course, and then we have mag.cartridge name. And what those two things do, they actually go hand in hand because you're going to use this for this. Now watch when I do this. If cart, then, and this is the C part, the cartridge goes in last. And then one cart dot shot amount do. Yeah, there's a fly in here. You can clearly hear it. Anyways, hold on. Yeah, I heard you. Yeah. So we got that, and now all we have to do is go up. Yeah, I heard you. So now all we have to do is just find out where the other thing is. So now I go here, and I'll just set it up like this. AI mode does not count because this is an AI. And yeah, we're going to need cartridge as well. So I'm going to go down. Hold on, if I can find it. Right there. Take that stuff, put it right up, and there you go. So now, as you can see, looks a little different. So, hold on. Yeah, I did. I heard. I guess I have to do this a lot. So, go down here. Make sure this is in there as well. Hold on, let me just put it in. And there you have it. Now, before we get to the rest, we're going to actually have to set this up a little differently so that it can accept the cartridge. So what do I mean by that? Well, CART. Actually, not like that. That was caps lock. Yeah, it's still caps lock. RT. CART. And now we just go here. CAR. Oh, wait. Yeah. You can hear her if you hearing it from me, I guess. Everything is a real job these days, including this. Anyways, what we do here is we're going to put the C right there. And I'm going to put one right there. So what does that do? Well, let me just tell you. This is kind of like a ternary operator in most languages, but it's different. Instead of being a ternary operator, it's a fallback. So the fallback is basically where if you don't supply a cartridge, one is supplied for you. Simple. Helps keep things straight and not get broken, despite the major changes to the system. So now I'm going to take this. Hold on. I'm going to take this and go full on with this here and put it in the other function. So preferably I would like to do it there. And yeah, we'll just take this and we'll copy it and put it directly up there. Now the AI might not be able to fire, but we'll fix that. Yeah, my mom is complaining. I get it. No need to worry. I accidentally gave her the wrong bag. So, it's fine with me. I can fix this problem. So, okay, so now we have the problem solved. Hopefully. We'll see. I might do a gameplay at the end, who knows. Anyways, I'm going to close out this calculator and we're going to take a small break, because the next thing we're going to do after this will be, yes, you guessed it, rigging the shotgun. So I'll be right back. Alright, so let's break the shotgun. Never mind. I'll be right back. Alright, so let's break the shotgun. Okay, so first place I'm going to go to is in UFK, and this is the shotgun we're rigging right here. Now we're going to have to take some parts out. I don't know if we should, but we will. So you have this main A, this should be main. Now if I go straight to main, you'll see that there is a barrel right there to the left. It's going to be the first one to shoot. So barrel index. Well, let me find an int value. We're going to use barrel index. Make that 1. Now for the sake of this video or stream, I'm going to make it a little bit short and actually find an effect that works. Got many weapons in here, but I think I'm going to go with the M4 Super 90s effect, because this is a double barrel shotgun, which can be deadly as hell, if you ask me. Yes, these are going to be used. Now, in the case of not having enough resources to make a game, I like to do something what I like to call modification. So in this case, I'll take the fire sound of this gun and lower the pitch. Maybe that works, who knows? But we're gonna find out. Yeah, that's a loud TV. Nothing I can do about it right now. Let's hear the sound first without the pitch or whatever. You can clearly hear how loud that is. I'm going to turn this down for you guys. And I'm going to do maybe 0.5. Let's try that. That's better. That's going to sound like the 1894. Now I'm excited. So now all we gotta do is we just gotta keep the main like that, and then we're gonna find the other one, which is in the hinge assembly, that main B, and then we're going to do main B like this. Then we're going to put right here. And I'm going to take this out. Take out the Flash GUI as well in the Flash effects. Just rename this to main. Not main 2 or main B, just main. It will work, trust me. Uses a special system to work. So now we're going to do this. And basically what this does is it allows me to actually have 2 barrels instead of 1. And you don't have to switch to them instantly. You can just fire them both at once if you want. Now to do that, you will have to press the middle mouse button. But if you really want to do it, you gotta like use the scroll wheel for that. So now You got that. We're going to do something else. We're not going to rig the mag today because we're running short on time, as we can see. We're going to be taking a break in approximately 2 minutes. Yes, I know it's just a lot of breaks, but hey, this works. So the recess is right here, and this is the barrel recess. We have the hinge receiver right here. We also have some other things. We have 2 shells. We have the barrel assembly. Let's put the barrel assembly in the root. We call this main barrel because it is the main barrel. Now we got that. The next thing I'm going to add would be, let's just find out. This is the barrel release. And we know what that is. So let's just see. This is the hinge, which it will turn on. And yeah, pretty much that. Very interesting shot, that, if you ask me. Sadly, there is no safety. You're just gonna have to use it as is. So now we have that. Just see what we can do. Yeah, let's do the main site. So that means we're going to do the main site, or did we do it already? Nope, we didn't do it. Let's put the aim part in there first. Now all we have to do is add in the aim order, which is this. Yes, you guessed it, another int value. Aim order is the same as the barrel index, but it deals not with firing the weapon on a certain barrel, but it deals with aiming at a certain point. This allows for canted sights to work, if you didn't notice. So that's key. Anyways, we got that. Now we just need the rest, which will be here. So we got the barrel recess, which is important, which is really important. I'm not gonna lie. The barrel release we'll do first. And what I like to do is with this, I like to make something called an effector. It keeps the hinge in place so that something doesn't go spinning in the wrong direction while also moving in the wrong direction. It spins straightly in place compared to what you would do without it. So now we got that, and we're going to have to do the release. You can do it in any direction. So I'm going to just do this, and I'm going to make this the barrel release lever, or just barrel release, whatever. So keep that there, and then that's it. So now I think we should take a break right now because this is starting to get really grueling. So I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. So, now, we... Excuse me, I'm eating fries. These are delicious. And homemade, too. We are going to be doing some things with the shotgun regarding its rig. So you have the stock right here. We'll just put that in. Same thing with the receiver. The receiver is where you actually like deals with the gun, like where the gun actually pulls out the round and shoots it. So yeah, you get the idea. The barrel recess, I have no idea what that is. You know, that might be where the thing actually like pivots. Yeah, that's my mom. You can hear her. So then you have the hinge receiver, which is basically what we use to actually open it, I would assume. Now let's make an effector here. So I may end this early, around 1:45, since it is getting late. And I've been streaming for at least 2 hours or more. So, well, actually not 2 hours, 1 hour. An hour and a half to be exact. This is the handguard. Okay, so now I'm going to put that there. Yep, that story always resonates with me about college. Never fails. So now we have that. Now let's check out this fire sound. Doesn't sound like a sound you would use. Let's try 0.5. So that's good, but I don't think we're not going to use it. We already got one. Alright, so now we got the hinge. Next week, if what time it is, we will be doing the shotgun shells. Well, actually, let's do the front sight first. Yeah, let's just do that and make that main sight. Alright, and the other one will be the front sight post is also main sight. This is just the way I like to, you know, name my parts so that everything is in order. So now I take that out and put that up here. As you can see, the rig looks good. And now, the next thing I'm going to do, we'll keep the open position as a reference. But the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just close this up and save to Roblox. So now, that is it. Okay. The next thing we're going to do, which is next week, is we're going to actually continue rigging this, but rig the magazine, which is going to be, of course, the shotgun shells, and then have everything in order. So, that is all for this week, because I am finished. My name is Erdos12, and I will see you guys next time.